Okay. So thank you all very much for being here. My name is Randy Schrader. I'm smiling broadly. Why? Because I absolutely love the message that I have to deliver to you. I was talking with a longtime friend just about an hour ago, and he said, Randy, I've known you for 35 years. I've heard you describe a lot of messages. I've never heard you describe something as lightning in the bottle before. He said, I've never heard you call something magic. So he said, clearly there's something different here. Folks, really and truly, and no kidding, there is not just something here. There are a few things here that are different. But to say that things are different somehow misses the mark. This this is without question the most profound moment of opportunity that I have seen in my life. And I believe that this is likewise the most profound moment of opportunity that you have seen in your life. And I can say that irrespective of the fact that I don't know what you've seen in your life. The name of the company we're here to talk about is LEV AI. That is the name of a company. That acronym stands for Leveraging Artificial Intelligence. The concept is to bring that which is inevitable, the global adoption of artificial intelligence, into the hands of the masses in a simplified mechanism, in a simplified way, a one app solution that will, in fact, bring the next inevitable transition in society to the hands of not just millions, but billions. This is the future in your hands, accessible artificial intelligence. And as we go forward, I talked about the global adoption. There may be a handful of you on here who are as old as me. I remember back in 82, 83, 84, sometime in those early days, I had a friend named Andy Kay. He launched a company called K Pro Computer. It was a direct competitor to Apple at that time. Andy could see the future. I remember I saw one of the very first boxes, and he said, Randy, the day will come when every desk in the world has one of these on it. He could see the future. I could not. I simply used the computer. And I thought when I was using it, I was making a choice. Now, in hindsight, I can see I was not. It was use or be left behind. A couple of years later, a similar circumstance. I remember that first dial-up modem and the crackling sound. It sounded like a fax machine, and finally waiting what seemed like a long time for a website to open. There's no way that I had the vision to see that one day everyone would be required to adopt the internet. Further evidence of it right now. You're using a computer, aren't you? A computing device, and you're using the internet right now. And the day will come when, just as we all were compelled to adopt computerization and the internet, the day will come when every single person on this planet will be required to adopt AI or be left behind. That is the truth. And so the question is, will we leverage that to our benefit and for the benefit of others, or will we simply use it, or will we suffer the risk? Because there is a tangible risk when there's a quantum change. There's a tangible risk in being left behind. I don't like the downside, but you have to measure it. My son Blake. I'm thrilled to note that he is the president of this company, not because I hired him. I don't own the company. I couldn't make that hire because the owner of the company hired him. And as we go along, you'll come to understand who owns the business. I couldn't be more pleased with the selection. Blake is an attorney. He grew up in the home of an entrepreneur. He understands the sacrifices we make, and he understands the absolute requirement to honor those sacrifices long term. He understands the complications of a global business, having managed the Monavie Israel office for a period of time. He understands that because he managed the Portugal and ultimately all of European business for that company, and also all of Latin America and ultimately North America as well. Blake's most recent success was when, as CEO of a company called Medical Marijuana Incorporated, he guided that company through the end of the prohibition of cannabis. In many respects, we could say that he guided that industry through an end of a end of a prohibition. The advent of new technology, new things. This is Blake's sweet spot. LEV AI, the advent, the global adoption of AI. This is Blake's sweet spot. I feel in a very real way that he has been preparing his entire life for this moment. I feel like I have too. I hope you feel that way at the end of this short conversation. When I started talking about AI, and I know that I smile a lot when I have these conversations, it's because I find this so intriguing, so engaging, so exhilarating. I had my first conversation, and somebody made a statement that I thought was absurd until he told me who. He repeated a statement I thought was absurd until he told me who made it. The statement was made by Sundar Pichai, who is the CEO of Google. And the statement was that this artificial intelligence is going to be more profound than fire or electricity or anything we have done in the past. Now, when I heard that, would you give me a break? Then he said, no, Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, he's the man that said that. And then not too long thereafter, I saw this here, the deepest mind of all, a deep mind, Demis Hassama said, the difference here with artificial intelligence is it's going to be 10 times bigger than the industrial revolution, and maybe 10 times faster. Now, I had a conversation a couple of days ago with the person who said, well, Randy, isn't it possible there's some risk that this technology will work to the detriment of some? Yes, absolutely. I think back again, I wasn't there for it, but what if at the time of the Industrial Revolution, your business was in making harnesses for draft horses that would pull plows? Did the Industrial Revolution benefit you? Absolutely not, unless you were among those who could see that which was to come, unless you became a catalyst in the inevitability of the widespread adoption of tractors instead of plow horses and became a conduit to other people's use. You see, the technology will neither automatically, by its definition, accrue to our benefit or to our detriment. The question is, what do we choose to do with it? That will determine whether it winds up being the best moment of our life because we became the conduit to other people's early adoption. Does it become simply another moment of our life because we use it as we use computers and the internet? Or does it become a breakthrough moment in our life, a breakthrough moment that could not be recreated in any of the expanse of our lives? Why? Because this is more profound than fire or electricity or anything we've done in the past, because it is going to be more 10 times bigger than the Industrial Revolution and maybe 10 times faster. Therefore, if we could capture that lightning in a bottle, if we could take that lightning in a bottle, the inevitability of the adoption of AI on a global scale, and make that accessible to the masses, not just to the highly sophisticated technical wizards who are already attempting to use AI, but to everyone. Let's contemplate and consider the magnitude of what we now contemplate. 8 billion people on planet Earth will all be required to adopt, as they were required to adopt computerization of the internet and tractors as opposed to plows. How big is the opportunity? It cannot be compared to anything we've done before. If we can capture the tiniest percentage of that market by helping the vast majority of planet Earth who finds themselves confused and to a bit intimidated by it now, because LEV AI makes it simple for entrepreneurs to launch, market, and grow businesses. We find ourselves standing at the cusp, at the precipice of what could be the most remarkable season of our lives, depending on how we act upon the information. For one to predictably have tremendously positive outcomes, one way to do it is to identify problems that need solutions. And LEV AI has done that and now grants to us the opportunity to be the conduit to other people's utilization of that technology. The problems are today there's about 3.5, maybe 4% of the global population who understands the necessity of adopting AI, and they're trying. And what they find out is that today it is a complicated mess. And that can be measured how. I saw a recent statistic that said that the people who are currently using the available iterations of AI are experiencing about a 38% increase in productivity versus before their adoption. Well, that's nice, but does that sound more profound than fire or electricity or anything we've done in the past? No, I mean, a 38% increase, does that sound like it's more bigger than the Industrial Revolution? Well, no, it doesn't. And so you see that points to our opportunity. Today, the advent of AI is a certainty. What is uncertain is who is it that will make it accessible to the many by taking this confusing environment, making it simple. The answer is LEV AI. By making the CRM communicate with a social media app, which communicates with the web builder, which communicates with daily prompts on how to build a business, bringing it all into one house, reducing costs by maybe 75 or 80%, having only one application, only one subscription, one-stop shop to accomplish it all. There is a singular solution to the host of problems that people face as they now stick their toe in the water of this unbelievable opportunity. I mean, once again, my mind grows wide. My organizations over the course of my career have done more than $5 billion in sales, always with a product or service, a concept or idea that would appeal to 3% of the population, 5%. And they were people who had a choice about whether or not they chose to do it versus 97% of the global population who will be compelled to adopt. They have no choice. And now we offer both the superior product and most advantageous pricing. This is important. This is that magic in a bottle. There are 388 million small businesses on planet Earth, and each entrepreneur wants more contacts. Well, LEV AI makes building and maintaining a candidate and customer list far easier. You'll understand that in just a few minutes. Creates confidence about what to say to each candidate or prospect throughout the engagement process, and removes barriers that make you feel stuck. This is a very important thought and concept. I have never in my entire career interacted with a person who has done all that which is required to succeed, but done it poorly and therefore failed. I've never seen it. What I've seen instead are countless people who just didn't do that which was required to succeed. Why? A variety of reasons, some reasons as unique as the individual, but some consistent reasons. And one consistency is that it is a rare person who is an entrepreneur from the womb. Most start out in the world of employment. And in the world of employment, they've learned how to become reactive to the demands of the employment. Then they find the shoes fit a little too tight. I'm an entrepreneur. If you are, then I know what you feel like. We want to work where we want, when we want, with whom we want, and if we want, and we want to establish and prove our value. See, that doesn't show up in any job description. Why? Because that's a description of entrepreneurship. So we realize that the confines of employment are a little too constrictive. We seek the freedom of entrepreneurship. And then we find out that this movement from reactivity to proactivity can be challenging. Lack of knowledge, insecurity, doubts, and fears cause many people to become stuck. We're going to show you how to not be stuck anymore. And if you're not stuck anymore, you see, Cicero said years ago, the skill to do comes from the doing. Another important concept, I've had some people ask, well, Randy, won't this thwart leadership development? But because people will become dependent upon a tool. First of all, no one will become dependent upon a tool. We will become reliant upon a tool. That's very different than dependent. The use of the tool itself will cause one to develop new skill. As one develops new skill, well, first, even before that, one will gather new knowledge. You'll understand that in a moment. Every time we get a prompt from our personal chat GPT telling us the next correct activity, I'm willing to bet that we'll read that before we pass it on to somebody else. We're gathering new knowledge. As we act on that new knowledge, we're developing skill. To the complete opposite of what has been suggested to me, that perhaps it would thwart leadership development, this, in fact, is the most important addition to the way to construct a leadership group I have ever seen. It will remove barriers that have caused people to feel stuck, thereby increasing knowledge and skill, thereby growing the people who act on that information. We'll help you remove the fear of failure. How? By removing the incidence of failure. That's how. A host of issues that we address. We're going to talk about online presence, CRM, customer relationship management, website building tools, reminders of how and when to daily engage in activities to build your business, and a monthly leads program. One thing that has become evident to me at the stage of my career is that we can, in fact, predict one's future results by a variety of things. One way is to view the past and study that carefully. That's one way to predict the future. Another way is to recognize that in today's world, one can measure future outcome by measuring current influence. If one has a great deal of influence today, one can easily predict great results tomorrow. If one has limited influence today, in all likelihood, they will need to grow that influence in advance of greater results. Everything we do causes that to happen. All of it, every component begins growing your social media presence. I believe that you'll be able to eliminate your current CRM. If you're using customer relationship management software, if you're using a Go High Level, for example, you're probably paying 2 or 3 times as much for that single solution as you will now pay for the entire LEV AI solution. And you'll find that you're paying less for an entire solution that does more, not less. Simple screenshot import, and every time we import the new contact, upon import, we will learn more about that contact than you can imagine. Why? Because immediately your LEV AI tool suite will begin scanning, studying, devouring the social media presence of each imported contact, telling you what their hot buttons are, how to contact them, when and why. This will go a long ways towards causing a person to no longer feel stuck. Screenshot contact import, as I have described, absolute simplicity, contact enhancement. You'll know more about every contact in an hour than you know after 30 years of knowing them in all likelihood. No longer have the expense of a standalone CRM, because now you get an all-inclusive program, which includes customer relationship management tools. No longer will you be required to spend money to build and maintain websites, that part of your AI solution. And then this one is for me so very important. Remember, I stated a moment ago that I've never interacted with a person who has done all that which is required to succeed, but done it poorly and therefore failed. They got stuck instead. I've seen people get stuck and not go forward. I'm a pilot. I fly airplanes, and sometimes I fly in the clouds. I'm an instrument rated pilot. If I'm not on an instrument flight plan, that means I fly by visual reference and I try to pick and choose landmarks and hope I get where I'm going. If I have filed an instrument flight plan, then I have the benefit of an air route traffic controller who is assigned to me, who watches my progress and prompts me if I get it all off track. If my altitude varies from the flight plan, the traffic controller says 6162 Romeo, return to flight level 210. If I veer slightly off course, 6162 Romeo, you have 3 degrees left of track. Please turn back to the center line. If I'm setting up for an approach to an instrument landing system, the controller will hand me off to now the specific tower controller to guide me to my specific destination. Folks, you will now have, and every person in your business will have, their own personalized air route traffic controller in their hip pocket every step of the way, guiding them back to the center line. That could be the virtual AI twin of your upline, your source, your sponsor, your leader. It could be your personalized GPT, some combination of the LEV AI suite acting as your air route traffic control tower, passing you off at the exact right moment to the landing tower. Folks, from the takeoff to the point of destination, there'll be no more cause for fear, doubt, or confusion. This will cause so many more revenue producing activities to be done. The outcomes will not be measured in relation to the past. Why? Because this in combination is more profound than fire or electricity or anything we have done in the past. I'm almost giddy as I contemplate and consider these possibilities. And then the monthly lead program, I'd say this is a great big exclamation point to the idea that we need to help people make the movement from reactivity to proactivity. Is it not obvious that if someone were to contact you and say, hey, I understand you know more about home-based business than I do, will you teach me? Hey, I understand that you've got a toehold in the artificial intelligence world. I'd like to know more. Can you help me? Would it not be much easier to respond to someone who's asked for information than it would be to provoke that conversation? Of course. And part of the LEV AI solution, just a tiny part of the LEV AI solution, is a candidate list more than 2 billion strong. And with each subscription, you will have the opportunity to search that candidate list and select individuals with whom to communicate. You can drill down to the exact candidate you're looking for. And please know that that candidate will not have been given to 10 other people. All 2 billion are only distributed a total of 2 times each and never more than twice in an 11, or never more than once in an 11-month period. Is it not obvious that having an ability to communicate with people who have asked for that communication would guide the process to helping a person become eminently proactive? There's a lot to this, folks, and there's a lot more than we've described so far. Every plan includes your own digital clone. I got my digital clone today. I'm not going to illustrate it today, but I got my digital clone today. What a fun thing. Every single person who has ever been involved in small business has always looked for the way to get the next candidate. You have now as many candidates as you have people that you know. When you send them your digital clone speaking in fluent Chinese, Russian, Hebrew, whatever it is, whether they're receiving the message in their native tongue or they're hearing you for the first time speak a language they don't understand, do you not suppose that's going to provoke a query? How did you do that? Can I do it too? What is the purpose? This will provoke conversation for the impending season, this next 3.5, 4, 5 years, as the global adoption of artificial intelligence takes place. This is probably the next 48 months the most profound moment of opportunity that will exist on this planet for the next 48 years, putting it in the focus and in the context of the same measure of opportunity with computerization, with the same opportunity magnitude as the advent of the internet, and indeed with the Industrial Revolution. And you can give it any script, or you can use your own personalized GPT to create it. Personalized GPT? What do you mean? 700 million people on planet Earth logged into Chat GPT this week to get answers to questions, solutions to problems. They got good answers and good solutions. They did not get perfect answers or solutions. Why? Because what they got was pulled from the body of the internet. By definition, as it relates to their specific enterprise, it was generic. Your personalized GPT will pull content that you have chosen. So different, so much better, so different and so much better. I suppose I probably should have put at least the picture of my avatar here because it's me doing the presentation, but I didn't. Larry Lane's my good friend, so I'm happy to look at his. The creation is easy. You simply submit a photo of your choosing. Having submitted a photo of your choosing, and by the way, if you want to instead, you can select an avatar from the library. But you just submit a photo. You make a couple of short video clips, and bang, the system goes to work and creates a digital you that is so close to you that you yourself may not be able to ascertain which is you and which is the clone until the clone speaks a language that you don't speak, and then you'll know what it says. Give it your script or let your personalized GPT create it. It can be in your exact voice, or if for some reason you don't want your voice, you can pick one from the library and you get to set the emotion and tone. Tomorrow, I'm sorry, the day after tomorrow, Blake will do the next corporate update and you will see digital twins in action. One of the reasons that I am so drawn to this and that I am so euphoric in my anticipation of the future is because for the first time in my career, I get to talk about value. For my whole career, I have represented good products or services, but they've always been premium priced, the highest price, and I've always had to justify or explain away that pricing. So different. Let me say right now, you cannot buy what this company sells packaged together with all apps communicating one with another. You cannot buy that elsewhere, no matter what you're willing to pay. Statement of fact as we speak right now. If you do attempt to produce something that would be similar, you would have multiple applications which do not communicate one with another, and you would spend an absolute dead bare minimum of 3 times the price of the Pro package. Here, for only $49 or $99, that is an ongoing subscription price, you get a combination of services that represent the most remarkable value that perhaps you'll ever see. Your likeness, your voice, speaking your script flawlessly, your digital twin, that is, in dozens of languages, and you can use your personalized GPT to create the scripts. Your AI Social, immediate AI writing assistant, provoking likes, commentary, the beginning of a process to grow your social media presence, which grows your ultimate value in the marketplace. Multiple profiles if you select the Pro Pack, because perhaps I have a friend who's has a business that is in the personal appearance field, and he is a real estate developer. Those are two very different businesses, aren't they? Very different commentary. And so he would need the Pro Pack so that he could have both profiles loaded into that digital twin. Social media growth and engagement, utilizing the overall package to begin from the first day, once again, growing your social media presence. The CRM with screenshot import, which enhances your knowledge of the candidate, granting us the ability to address their needs with our product or service, as opposed to trying to get them to address our needs. That's not a simple shift in words, folks. That's the difference in success and failure for countless people. No longer will we spend money on building and maintaining websites. That's inclusive in the process. It's intuitive. It's easy. I've done it. And the enhanced CRM, in addition to profile enrichment and enhancement, also guides each candidate from the point of first introduction all the way to their point of logical conclusion through a very well done funnel. And finally, the ability to search from a seemingly limitless candidate list every month, receiving new candidates who have requested information, ultimately developing in your behalf the knowledge, the skills, and the confidence necessary to become that category one leader that other people are drawn towards. That's the real magic, folks. The utilization of this project will grow you. It will grow you. It will make you the best version of you, and it will do things for you on your behalf that you as an individual cannot. And here's an example. I would like nothing more than to be with you right now, but I can't. I can only be right here. That's all. And over the course of my career, I had been frustrated by the fact that so frequently my message is only as good as the interpreter standing beside me. That all changes, folks. Right now, I can be in one place and you can be in one place, starting in a of days, I will be able to be at one time or at whatever time I'm requested to be there through my interactive digital clone. When I said interactive, what does that mean? It means for those of you who are content, those of you who have events as the content you want to be and actually become literally conversational. If there's very, very dense information, the other individual, except you can be everywhere all at once in the world, no matter what time speaking fluently in the language. If the person found then fire or electricity or anything we've done in the past, there's no way I can look back over my shoulder and see anything remotely similar. I cannot quantify what the future might hold by measuring my past, because this is going to be 10 times bigger than the Industrial Revolution and maybe 10 times faster. Once again, folks, why clean the whiteboard? Don't consider this to be an extension of your career. To be a brand new beginning, because that's what it is. Combination of services which speak on a minute by minute basis, and we do it like when he had this slide created. It was very conservative. I don't think for a second you could create this for $315, and instead it's $99 per month. Absolute unmatched value. And when we contemplate the market opportunity, the only way that I can make this picture big enough is as follows. Right now, there are 8 billion people on planet Earth. What percentage of them use the internet? That's the percentage who are going to use AI. There are 8 billion people on planet Earth. What percentage use a computer? That's the percentage who are going to use AI. Therefore, almost no slide that you put here can measure the magnitude. More profound than fire or electricity or anything we have done in the past. That is not a question. You will be compelled to use it as we did within the next 4 years. More than 90% a conduit to that which is inevitable. Every person you know is going to use AI. If you are a conduit to their use, when they acquire their package, you'll get paid a one-time 50% bonus. Every month when they pay their ongoing subscription, you'll be paid 20%. Folks who has more than 25 million followers on Instagram, all 25 million of those people are going to use AI. If she chooses to use her influence to introduce them to the best iteration of AI at the best price, they will get the best deal going for that which they must do anyway, and she'll get paid 20% per month for their ongoing subscription indefinitely. She's obviously had some pretty good paydays to have 25 million Instagram followers. This, should she choose to act upon it, will be her biggest payday. Why? Because this is more profound than fire, electricity, or anything we've done in the past. And then for those of us who are accustomed to building teams, an 8-generation unilevel compensation plan paying 20%. Well, first of all, how's the whole comp plan work? Acquisition bonus, you be the conduit to someone else's use. You get paid 50% of their purchase price. Ongoing commissions for those you personally introduce the program, 20% of their ongoing subscription, month after month after month, indefinitely. When you build teams in depth, that will then continue to an additional 7-level unilevel compensation plan where we get paid 4% on the next 7 generations. 20% of what? And 4% of what? Of cash. No artificial dilution to PV, BV, or CV, those of you who've been around micro enterprise or home based business. And then, if ever an idea, if something is red hot, I mean really red hot, then there'll be a mass movement of people towards it. We're experiencing it. I think 35 days ago was day one, the first time that any person in the world heard about this as a business opportunity. And in the last 35 days, we've now assembled, I think we'll cross over 40,000 people today. There's not been a dime spent in advertising. It's been pure word of mouth. And in the beginning, we required people to sign NDAs. It's grown almost in spite of itself, not because of any cohesive marketing effort. That mass movement of people will compound over the course of the next couple of days because we're about to go live. It is coming. Whenever there's a mass movement, there must be an infinity payout to incent leadership to work deep in the program. That, of course, occurs here. And then the real magic is when we're getting paid because other people get paid. A 4-generation through your enrollment tree check match that is paid on all parts of the compensation plan, not just paid on your team commissions, which is typical. Someone earns an enrollment bonus and you get a check match, they earn a team commission, and you get a check match, they earn a unilevel, and you get a check match. A check match on what? A check match on what will become a far, far, far bigger opportunity than any of us have ever seen. We're talking about the global adoption of a technology, which is a mandate, not an option. For those who have already described, all we have to talk about it in the comp plan. Um, the day after tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern, Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, Blake will give the next official corporate updates. The things that I describe now are not official. I am not an officer or director. I am not an employee. I am what you are or can become. I'm sharing with you things that I believe to be accurate. I believe that I believed yesterday that the application would be available on the day the company goes live. Today, I know that's not accurate. The application will be available about 2 weeks later. This company is going to go live this week. That is going to happen. And it will be desktop, laptop based, well, just browser based for about 2 weeks. And then the application will be introduced, maintaining then the desktop, laptop, the browser based, but also the application. The LEV AI back office. Today, those of you who are already enrolled are seeing only very limited functionality. Full functionality will be turned on at launch. And I'll probably say slightly more than Blake wants me to say here, but I can tell you that the launch date is now established. The launch will be spaced a little bit. The entire world will not all launch at the same time, but the first market openings will be Wednesday of this week. And then I'm hoping for full global operations by the weekend. It may be the next day or two. So US and Canada will launch Wednesday of this week. There's some chance it launches Tuesday. I'm not ruling out Tuesday, but it will be launched by the end of business on Wednesday. And then allowing for the crypto adoption. That's the reason for the couple of day delay, allowing for crypto adoption, because there will be some markets where we have credit card processing issues in the very earliest days. We want to have both the PayPal solution, which I'll talk about in a moment, and crypto adoption available when we do the global rollout. Team management, those of you who've already begun to grow businesses, please log into your limited view back office right now. Go to resources, watch the 3-minute video, and learn how to structure your organization. Multi-language support is already available right now, 10 languages. That will go to many, many more soon. And here, PayPal is supported globally. When this conversation began, the intention was not to roll it out until January or February upcoming. Recognizing the very, very critical moment of timing, literally every grain of sand that filters from the top of the hourglass to the bottom of the hourglass, when we're talking about a global adoption of perhaps 90% of the entire population in the next 4 years, a day or two matters. And so we decided that it was worth the inconvenience of knowing that we would have challenges with credit card processing in some nations at the very first day. Because that is anticipated, we will, asking you right now, if you don't have PayPal, please get it. With a PayPal account, then if in fact your credit card is not one which is honored at the very first day, that'll be overcome with PayPal. And we then will introduce crypto as a pay in and a pay out solution within 1 more week. Therefore, we will be live with some markets, US and Canada for sure, by Wednesday night of this week. That opening, by the way, is not dependent upon the corporate call on Wednesday night. It is possible this opens tomorrow. It is possible it is open before the corporate call Wednesday night. In that case, you would simply get an email notifying you that you can now go into your back office and populate the information and pay for the service. Then you would get all of the corporate announcements on Wednesday. Okay, there is that. If you are not yet following LEV AI on all social networks, please do. Do not miss even one thing. And realize that everybody's already talking about AI. You don't have to provoke the conversation. Everyone is talking about AI. Samantha and I, my wife, we have now personally enrolled 142 people since this process started only a month ago. And it has been easy. Why? Because everyone's already talking about AI. How have we done it? I would like you to do the same thing. Simply go to youtube.com/@GetLevAIHQ, and there you will find the sizzle video. Then craft a simple script. Simple script that I use is something like this. Doesn't have to be these exact words, but it's something like this. Have you yet become aware, or are you yet participating in the global adoption of artificial intelligence? And have you positioned yourself to benefit from that experience? Or are you subject to the risk of missing the benefit of that global adoption? Please watch the video below, and then let's talk. The video link is there, and my LEV AI registration link is there. That simple message delivered 50 times a day, day after day after day after day after day. And by the way, no thought that goes into it, not this candidate's right, that candidate's right. They will all, every single candidate, every contact in my phone, every LinkedIn candidate contact, every Facebook friend, every, they will all be compelled to adopt AI. They're already thinking about it. All I'm doing is showing them the easiest, the best, and the least expensive way. So I'm not picking candidates. I'm sending it to everybody. Bang, 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 50 times a day. And that has resulted in, I've only had 2 days where upon waking in the morning, I didn't have a new member. I've had a couple of days where I had 9 new members. And every day I have had people saying, please tell me more. Don't make that which is easy hard. We find ourselves now at the absolute genesis, at the beginning point of what will be a tremendously successful venture. And I can have confidence in saying that because we don't have the risks typically a part of that. Why? Because though LEV AI is a startup, we are owned by a gentleman named Terry LaCour. LaCour Enterprises is the global service provider for LEV AI. That means that ultimately payment in and out will not be a concern for our company. Why? Because that's one of Terry's primary businesses, LaCour Payment Technologies. Access to leading back office, commissions, and operating history, hundreds of years of collective experience, over 25 years of successful operation in every part of the direct selling micro enterprise business, over $7 billion in revenue. The wonderful opportunity of being at the absolute genesis and yet suffering none of the risks being a part that are typically a part and a partial to that because we operate under the umbrella of Terry LaCour and because we have Blake Schrader guiding the day-to-day process. Understand this. Neither you nor I have a choice about whether we're going to adopt and use AI. We are. The choice we have is whether or not we are going to be the conduit to other people's adoption. If we're going to be the cause that that which is destined occurs a little more quickly as a result of our catalyst behavior. If so, then now is the moment to act if that's you. And notice this slide is 2 to 3 weeks old. It says LEV AI will officially launch in 2 to 3 weeks. It's 2 to 3 weeks old. And we're now down to 2 to 3 days. That's where we are. And we are at the absolute cusp, the genesis, the foundation point of what I believe is the single most remarkable opportunity in our lives, more profound than fire or electricity or anything we've done in the past. Let it be that you fully harvest the value of this moment for your family and for those that matter to you. Contact whomever invited you here, ask them to send you the online registration form so that you have your registration link. And then tomorrow morning at noon Eastern time, put your best 10 candidates on here. Why not launch a business in the next 20 hours? Why not be profitable in the next 2 days? That's eminently possible. Everybody, the future is bright. But you know what else? So is the present for those who act. The present is likewise bright, maybe brighter than ever before. Have a beautiful day, and we'll see you along the way. Bye bye.